All right, welcome to episode 33 of the Pro Go Baduk and Weiqi podcast. I'm Xiao Dai, and we have again
Gaza.
Gaza. I can't believe it, Gaza. We're live again. Uh,
Yeah, it worked pretty well first time.
yeah, it worked pretty well first time. Again, zero advertisement. So if people happens to catch it live, it's because they have the bell on probably. But whatever it is, now there's also
Oh, mind you, I just want to point
yeah.
out, obviously, when we say live, we mean live on Facebook. People may be watching this stream after it's been recorded on a different service, which
Yeah,
is great.
yeah. And actually, I think we're live on YouTube. But
Oh, sorry, I meant YouTube, not Facebook. Don't know
yeah,
why I said Facebook.
I'm
My
not
bad.
sure. Yeah. Okay, so guys, there's also quite a bit to get going. But hot off the press today, 24th Nongshim Cup.
Oh, the Nongshim Cup is back.
Yeah. Sometimes it's translated as the Noodles Cup online, but it's back. This is stage 2 of the 24th Nongshim Cup. So let's do a recap of what's happened in the first stage. So in the first stage, we have, I believe, did it start with Fanting Yu versus Ichiriki?
Yes. So
Okay,
the
yeah,
Nongshim Cup, basically the World Championship of Baduk, or the World Team Championship.
yeah. It's
Um,
the format is of course win and continue. So there's three
win and
countries
continue.
usually. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, there's three countries. Each country will put out 5 players, but obviously, only 2 countries can play the first game. So the third country has a little bit of an advantage. And what happens is they play. They send out one player each, and the country whose player lost will kind of get a rest for the next round because the third country will now bring out a player, and the losing player is now the player who have lost is now eliminated, and it kind of continues this way. So if you keep winning, you keep being challenged until you lose, of course, and you get kicked out. So that's how the game works.
Yes, and you are correct in that the first round was China's Fanting Yu and Japan's Ichirikiryu.
Yep. So Fanting Yu beat Ichiki there. So then Korea sent out Shin Min-jun to challenge Fanting Yu. So Fanting Yu also won that one. And then Japan sent out Xu Chaoyuan, and Fanting Yu also won that one. So by this time, Fanting Yu had won 3 games. And so then Korea sent out Kang Dongyun, and Kang Dongyun versus Fanting Yu was the last game in the first stage. So no matter what happens, the first stage was going to end, and then we'll pick it up today. And it just so happens that in the last game, in stage 1, Kang Dongyun beat Fanting Yu. So basically, Kang Dongyun will be waiting for the challenger from Japan, which happened to be Shibano Toramaru today, and they played today.
Yes, and so this is between Kang Dongyun, the reigning Weiqi Construction Cup champion,
Yep.
and recent LG Cup semi-finalist,
Yep.
against Shibano Toramaru, who is the reigning Meijin.
Yeah. Well, Shibano Toramaru wasn't the Meijin when the Nongshim Cup has started. He just kind of became the Meijin maybe a few days ago.
Yes, and I believe that when he was actually announced as the player for round 5, he wasn't the Meijin either.
Right. So yeah. So a bit of time have elapsed. But Gaza, what do you think about today's game? So what we're seeing on the screen right now is the key food for today's game. So Kang Dongyun is white, Shibano is black. Do you remember much?
Yes, it was. There, it was. I thought it was. I tried to watch this one without AI,
Yeah.
and I like this move here by Black
Yeah.
on the screen here. J2.
Yeah.
It seems to split uh, White's groups on the bottom, and you can see now White is actually split up into 3 sections on the
Right.
bottom.
Well,
Um,
that's assuming, like, for example, black would this push and cut works, um, which it probably does. Yeah.
No, well, I'm talking about his two. He's got the two stones at Q4 and Q5 as
Oh,
well.
these ones. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also got that push and cut. But
Hmm.
obviously the issue here is that after J2, it's White's turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
And
and yeah, the way that Kang Dongyun managed this situation was quite impressive.
yeah. And I just remember watching the live stream by Joe Ray Young. Basically, I think after this particular local fight here, he was not a big fan of Shibano's position already. So for whatever reason, Shibano thought. Uh, but okay, when I saw this position, I thought Black would need to take care of this group somehow. So maybe like jump out or play something like this or something, whatever it is. But Shibano decides that it's a good idea to make his shape strong on this side, and then when Ken Dong-gyun attach, he can just Hane. So basically, both of these moves make this group weaker. So maybe Shibano thought that he can then come out and kind of start attacking this group. But yeah, as you said, Ken Dong-gyun I think just played really well. He just cut Shibano into pieces. Now Shibano's in two groups at least, and this group is kind of in trouble. And if this white stone gets stronger, this black group will be in trouble. So I think by this point, Joe Ray Young was already, saying a little bit gloomy things about Shibano's position. And apparently at this point, AI suggests this move, 3-3, to protect it, because otherwise there's some RG in the corner for white. And Joe Ray Young was a little bit surprised that Kang Dong-gyun managed to find this move. And once Kang Dong-gyun found this move, he said that Kang Dong-gyun is in really good form. So he's got a bad feeling about this for Shibano.
Yeah, that is Kang Dong-yun is like Park Chun-wan. He seems to be a fairly passive player.
Yeah.
Won't always play the most aggressive move.
Mm.
So yeah, it is still impressive that he was able to see that the white group did need one more move
Yeah.
in the lower left.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you can see now, Black's just so disjointed in this position. He's
Yeah.
got a lot to worry about.
Yeah. Um, and basically, yeah. By this point, it's really behind. But Joe Young was saying that uh, if Black can make all of this Moyo here his territory, then maybe there's still a game. But he sounded like a big maybe. Because obviously this black group is not alive. This black group is half dead. Technically, apparently there's a way for this black group to live in a co. So I think the sequence is something like this. So this Hane is kind of sente against this one. So white has to retreat, and then maybe black can play here, and here, and then maybe there needs to be like a co fight, some kind of thing. So it's possible that this group can still live in a co.
Which group are we talking about?
The group on the left over here.
Mm.
Yeah, it's possible. So it's not fully dead yet, even though it looks half dead. But it's already not looking great. But Jorian has some good things to say about this move. He said, well, given it is what it is already, this is kind of Shibano's. Shibano play quite well here. Kind of should make this part of the Moyo as big as possible and still try to make it a game. But then I think Kang Dongyun started to apply some strength, and basically Shibano was just trying really hard. Now notice this, why that early fight just put Shibano into so much trouble, because now this black stone here is not technically alive, so Shibano needs to do some pretty painful stuff here to live, including this extend, which kind of completely killed off the RG here. So once white connect, this Hane doesn't work anymore. Yeah, but anyway, Shibano lived, but he kind of gave away quite a bit of things that he can do. And at this point, Kang Dongyun decides to just take some points. And apparently now this group is completely dead. And but now
the group on the left.
Yeah, the group on the left is dead because after this, because black doesn't have this Hane as a sente now. Now, and Joe Yang did say that even under amateur 5 dan, this black move is not maybe something like this. This is not easy to deal with. This it's very tricky for anyone under amateur 510. But apparently, the easy sequence to kill this is just to cut and jump in here. Of course, black cannot block from this side, just Atari. And of course, if black tries to make an eye over here, then white can connect back. And of course, black can try to jump, and then just as simple as Atari, connect back. So actually, there's no two eyes for black over here. So basically, it's dead, which is a shame for Shibano. So this is dead, but Shibano can still try to do something because the middle is still quite big. Now at this point, Choi Jeong was saying, well, Shibano must do something. Like he was surprised that Shibano didn't reverse Hane here and try to cause some trouble for white. But it just nothing's working out for white for black. So Shibano still plays some Yosei moves. Apparently, it's getting to a point where it's not getting very close. And once Kang Dongyun played this move, this Tetsuji, Shibano resigned. I think
Which Tetsuji?
This wedge over here. Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, wedge. You see that?
Oh, yeah, because now I think he can actually save his stones in the lower right.
Yeah, I think because Liberty is so tight, I don't exactly know what the sequence is, but it looks like, for example, the most obvious sequence is the Atari, and then maybe white can connect. Black has to connect.
I'm pretty sure Kang Dongyun. I watched the live stream, and Kang Dongyun was definitely going to play N9. He was I think he was anticipating L9, the Atari.
Yeah, because I think clearly this one doesn't work. It's just this doesn't work clearly.
Oh, can you show proof? Can you show it?
Atari, that would be Atari, right? I think
so. If he plays L10,
where now?
No. I mean L9 and then N9.
You mean this one?
No. L9 first.
L9, like that
for black.
Yeah, so the Atari, so white connect.
No. L9 for black.
This is L9 black.
Yes. Yeah, and then white, and then what does white do then?
Connect.
Yeah, and then after L10, what happens?
L10, white can just play here.
No, I mean after white plays N9 and then black plays L10. If black plays L10 now,
black plays L10. Yeah, this one.
What happens now? What does white do?
Here.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so white can pull back or pull this one stone back. So say black does this, then obviously that's not going to be good. So black has to take, and then this can pull back. Black can't break through over here anymore. This cut doesn't work, I don't think. Oh no, it's already an Atari. Obviously, it doesn't work here. So it's not going to work out for black. And then Choi Jeong was like, oh, so Kang Dongyun doesn't even want to get to Yosei. He just want to finish Shibano off. Which is once Kang played this wedge, Shibano just resigned. So I guess to me it wasn't that unexpected because I really didn't expect Shibano to do well. I guess even though he did beat Shin Min-jun 1 year, but he just doesn't really play that well in Nongshim Cup, I don't think.
Well, I was expecting Shibano to put up a good fight.
Yeah.
Although because I do believe he's the current. He either is the current Ryusei champion or the current NHK Cup champion.
Right.
Let me see if I can find out now. So Shibano.
So why are you looking for the records? Right? Maybe Shibano is one of the better players, one of the better Japanese players in terms of fast games. And it didn't work out that well for him in this game.
But Kang Dongyun has been doing very well in fast games.
Right.
This year. I mean, he's been doing well in all games.
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah. Well, mind you, the Nongshim Cup format would be reasonably fast for me because it's 1 hour each, and if I play online, it's maximum like 20 minutes, and then 1 minute below me after that. So
Yeah, yeah. And I just checked. Shibano is the Ryusei champion, so that's similar to the Yongseong
yeah,
in Korea.
yeah,
Where you have 20 minutes and then 20 seconds Fisher increment. And Kang Dongyun actually made the final of this year's Yongseong as well. So,
right, yeah,
yeah, no, Kang Dongyun is certainly having a great year this year. One of the definitely worthy of his number 4 ranking in Korea.
yeah.
And now he's won 2 games in this Nongshim Cup, and that puts him overall in his career 11 Nongshim Cup wins.
Nice.
Which there's not that many players that have won 10 or more Nongshim Cup games. I think there may only be 9 players.
Right.
And in terms of this year, players that are playing this year, of course, you've got Fan Yu, who we've mentioned before has the record for the most Nongshim Cup wins. And you also have Park Jun-hwan. He has 14. So Fan Yu has 21 Nongshim Cup wins. Park Jun-hwan has 14. And then Kang Dongyun has 11.
Right.
Yeah, so really, really impressive.
Yep. Now, keep going.
And yeah, what were you going to say? Sorry?
I was going to say that Kang Dongyun, in one of his interviews, he said that his aim this year is to win 3 games. So he's already done 2 out of 3.
Well, I got to say that's pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
For anyone. Even for someone like Fan Yu, who did actually win 3 games.
Yeah.
But he should probably aim to win 4 games because then you get a bonus.
I think on the 3rd game, if you win the 3rd game, you already get a big bonus.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's why he wants to win 3 games.
Maybe.
But his next opponent will obviously be since Japan lost and China didn't play today, the next opponent for tomorrow will be the Chinese player.
Correct.
And it will be Dr.G.
Yep, Dr.G.
And Kang Dongyun doesn't have a good record against Dr.G. He's 2-4.
All right.
But those 4 losses were actually the last 4 times they played.
Right. Yeah.
So, he's had a bit of quite a few losses against Dr.G. I think the last time he won was 2014.
Right.
But interestingly enough, that was also the last time he won a Nongshim Cup game before this year. So
wow. Okay.
Maybe his form will just see him break that bad streak.
Yep.
Hard to say because I haven't seen much of Dr.G this year.
He's done quite well actually. I believe he made the Asian Games team. I believe. And of course, he made the Nongshim Cup team. So, and yeah, I think his form is quite good, despite the fact that he's maybe getting on the older side for like top level professional player. I believe he's just over 30. I believe he might have been born in 1991.
Well, it's interesting you say that because that will still make him younger than Kang Dongyun.
Correct. But Kang Dongyun is still number 4 in Korea and just beat Kerje and beat Fan Yu. So you never know. But so let's take a look at all the remaining players just as a refresher. So in China we have of course Dr.G still left. Because Dr.G is only the 2nd player for China to come out. So Dr.G, and then China's there Len Xiao, Gu Zihao, and Kerje. And for Korea we have Kang Dongyun, Byung Sang-il, Park Jun-hwan, and Sun Jin-so. So all the big guns for Korea are still yet to play. Unfortunately for Japan, as we mentioned before, Ichiriki, Shu Chayan, Shibano Toramaru are already eliminated. So the 3 Crows are eliminated already.
With no wins.
0 wins, which is a bit unfortunate. So What's left is Yuzhengqi and Yamashita still to play for Japan.
Yeah,
So,
and we can virtually guarantee that Yu Jingqi will be playing on Sunday.
yeah, right. I thought you're gonna say that it's almost guaranteed that Yu Zhengqi will lose the game as well because he hasn't ever won a game in Nongshim Cup, and we all remember Yama's 4-win heroics last year. We are just not sure if that will continue.
Well,
Not.
the thing is, yeah, he had a great Nongshim Cup run last year, but the problem is he hasn't beaten anyone outside Japan since then.
Right.
And he's had a few opportunities. He's played 5 games against in international competition this year, and he's lost all 5. So it's hopefully he can bring back some form because the second phase of the Nongshim Cup will be 5 straight days. This was the first day, and we know the second day is going to be Kang Dongyun versus Tojakshi. That's on Saturday. Sunday will definitely have a Japanese player, and it will almost certainly be Yu Zhengqi.
Yeah.
And if Yu Zhengqi loses, that means that Ayama will have to play on the 5th day, the Tuesday.
Right.
So Ayama may have to play, and let's just hope these form.
I thought that Nongshim Cup, the second stage of the Nongshim Cup has been set at 4 days to try.
Is that right?
Yeah, to try and avoid, the situation where the third stage, contains no only 2 teams. I do believe they made a change.
Wait, let me confirm this. No, it's 5 days.
Damn.
It is 5 days. It's possible that they may, if someone wins all 4 games in the first stage, they may make the second stage 4 days. I'm not sure, but I can assure you that there will be 5 games in this stage.
Right.
I just checked.
So we could...
and so that means that if Yu Zhengqi loses on Sunday, Ayama will have to play on Tuesday.
Which would be unfortunate because I can't remember when was the last time Japan had 0 wins in Nongshim Cup, but
unfortunately it has happened.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can quickly find it. It was the 19th Nongshim Cup, so 2017-2018.
Right. So hopefully we won't see another one of those, but we could be in danger. But
now you haven't gone through the remaining Korean players.
The what?
So we went through the Chinese team and the Japanese team.
Or no, I went to the Korean. They did Kang Dongyun, Byung Sang-il, Park Chun-hwan, and Shin Jin-seo. So all the big.
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah. Something I noticed about the Chinese team. No Ding Hao. No Yang Dingjing.
No.
No Li Junhao.
No.
No Li Weiqing.
No.
Why not?
Didn't make it through qualifying. I do believe that Ding Hao was knocked out by Kerje in the qualifying. I can't remember the rest, but
I didn't realize Kerje even had to qualify.
Well, he did. I think that the rules of Nongshim Cup is that if you have won an international title in between the 2 Nongshim Cups, then you don't have to qualify. Or if you have won 5 games in a row in the previous in the last Nongshim Cup, you don't have to qualify. Or if you have won, I think 3 games in a row and finish off the Nongshim Cup, then you don't have to qualify. So unfortunately for Kerje, he fits neither of those criteria. None of those criteria. He hasn't won an international title for 2 years. So yeah.
Right. Well, he's still qualified though. So
yeah, he's still qualified. So yeah, it's a bit of shame. It's a bit of a shame to not see like the likes of Ding Hao and Yang Dingxin, but yeah, it's probably not the strongest Chinese team, but hey,
I mean, you could still say that, yeah, they've got a very, very good chance of winning.
In fact, it's estimated to be around 30% still, but let's see.
Yep. Well, yeah. So I encourage everyone to follow the Nongshim Cup. Yeah, it really is exciting
Yep.
games. For China and Korea, I think these are the most important games outside of the Asian games.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Now,
and yeah,
yeah, that's great. Now, Gaza. Now, since we've mentioned the name Ding Hao, let's go to the China's Qishi, which is a major domestic title in China, and the current holder of the Qishi title happens to be Ding Hao. So, Gaza, let's look at the Qishi from the.
Oh, actually, before we go to the Dutch issue, just one quick thing I wanted to mention about the Nongshim Cup just once more.
Right. Yeah.
Um, the obviously since a Japanese player was playing, they had it on the Nihon Kiin YouTube channel, and a lot of the time when someone's playing, they have a commentator.
And the commentator was.
It was everyone's favorite Japanese player,
Yeah.
Kono Rin.
Okay. Yeah.
And and apparently Kono Rin, I don't understand Japanese, but according to translation here, Kono Rin was talking about his experiences in the Nongshim Cup as he was following this game.
Yeah.
And I've had a quick look at Kono Rin's Nongshim Cup sort of performances, and he was in 6 Nongshim Cup teams, and he didn't win any games.
Yeah. Oh wow. What can you say?
But yeah, hopefully, unfortunately, that seems to have rubbed off on Shibano today.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully Japan will get a win. But anyway, that's enough for the Nongshim Cup. Let's go back to the Qishi. So Ding Hao is the reigning Qishi champion. So he didn't have to play in the tournament itself, right?
No, he didn't have to play the knockout, which goes to determine the challenger. Now, last week we did cover Kyrgyz lost to Yang Kaiwen by half a point.
Yes.
So that's why one of the reasons why Kyrgyz, his nickname is Kyrgyz, is named by our special guest Sin. But yeah, I can't argue. So Qishi, the challenger semi-final was between Wang Xinghao and Yang Kaiwen, and Tang Weixing and Mi Yuting. So some big names there. But unfortunately for Wang, he didn't get past the informed Yang Kaiwen. So Yang Kaiwen actually beat Wang Xinghao in this one. Now I don't remember.
Yang Kaiwen is, we mentioned this before, but Yang Kaiwen is China's latest 9-dan player.
Yes, he's 56 9-dan if I remember correctly.
56th.
Yeah.
Nice.
So because I think China recently changed the rules for promotion to 9-dan. It used to be that you have to play in the Dan upgrade competition to collect points. No other competitions allow you to accumulate points. I think something like that. So the only way to make 9-dan was to play in the Dan upgrade competition, or win an international title, or do well in some competitions. So it used to be a lot harder, but now I think every game counts towards Dan upgrade. So like every pro game, only certain games don't count towards it. So now the strong players, if they just do well enough, like get 75% win rate consistently, then they can get promoted to 9-dan. So there's more 9-dans coming out of China recently, but still not a huge amount. Now, unfortunately, I didn't actually watch these games, the Kifu, so there's nothing really I can say about this game. Now, the other game is Tang Weixing versus Mi Yuting. So, of course, Tang Weixing, he's got a bit of a reputation for being able to reverse games. So, Choi Jeong in his stream jokingly said that, unless Tang Weixing is in the 5%, 10%, he's not really gonna be in his elements. So he kind of needs to be down in the doldrums before he can win the games. But I think unfortunately for Tang in this game, I do believe he did end up with ended up in a lot of trouble. So in this game, Tang Weixing is black, Mi Yuting is white. So Tang Weixing did end up getting into a lot of trouble, but it was just that he couldn't really get out of it. So unfortunately for Tang, it wasn't his day, and he just didn't quite make it. So the final was the challenger final was played between Mi Yuting and Yang Kaiwen. So let's go to the finals. Okay, one thing I did jokingly said, you know how a lot of the pro games now don't even have lunch; they just have kind of food on the side. So now this is the food that was put out for the Qishi competition in Shenzhen.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, okay, this is the food they put out for the Tengen.
Tengen
wow. in Japan. It does feel like it's at least one class above. And of course, in Japan, they still go out and have a hot lunch. So,
that's 9 down food.
Yeah, 9 down food, mate. That's good. But I did remember watching an interview given by one of the Chinese pros, and he said that if he's playing in a very important game, it used to be that, of course, they used to be that they would kind of break for lunch. That was like maybe 10, 20 years ago. And the sponsors usually would put out some decent food, like a banquet kind of thing. But then he's like, he's got no appetite because he just, he's in the middle of a very important game, so he'll usually just eat a small bowl of noodles and then quickly go back to his room or whatever. So whatever it is, but in Japan they still seem to do lunch, especially for important games. They always take some food porn pictures and showcase it on their website. It might be a cultural thing. I think I mentioned this before, but maybe this is a reason why Japanese players don't do so well in international competitions. Just guessing. All right. Now to the finals. This handsome guy over here is, of course, Mi Yuting, also known as the Chinese player who always draws St. Jinso and Kang. And this guy over here is Yang Kaiwen. He was very curious about my rating system, but unfortunately for Yang Kaiwen, when they met in the final, Mi Yuting had the upper hand and won out in this game. I don't also remember looking at the Kifu, so yeah, also nothing to say. But for those
I looked at this Kifu.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not a strong player. But the AI had Mi Yuting never really behind.
Right.
And the same with the semi-final, the Wang Xinghao, Yang Kaiwen. Yang Kaiwen just won that fairly easily as well.
Yeah, which is a bit disappointing. Because I think a lot of people want Wang Xinghao to do well. They kind of think of him as the next, expected to be one of the leading players of the next generation after Ding Hao, but hasn't. But he's already 18, so it doesn't look like the next Koji, even though he may be Chinese number 1 in a few years. But
I think that it's still a little bit hard to gauge because of the pandemic and the situation with that the tournaments. But I think it was at the very least he made the semi-finals of this tournament, which is probably his best result in an open tournament, in his career. Of course, in terms of youth tournaments, he's won the Globus Cup twice.
And he just recently won the Rookie King in China.
Yes, he also won the Rookie King.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I do remember this being a fairly one-sided affair. So congrats to Mi Yuting for making it to the
title match,
challenging Ding Hao in best of 3.
And when does the title match take place?
It's already happened.
Oh wow!
Because it just the whole I think from quarterfinal onwards to the title challenger match, it's all happened in a few days, consecutive days.
Nice,
very nice. So this is game 1. The person you're looking at here is Ding Hao. Now, one thing that's very interesting is that Ding Hao doesn't get a lot of flack for going to university, but Ke does, because they're both, of course, technically uni students right now. But of course, Ding Hao doesn't get as much criticism for it, maybe because he's not number one in China, but he got close. So this is Ding Hao in his first game versus Mi Yuting. Now I watched both of these Kifus, and I'll have to see if I can how much I can remember from it. So, guys, do you remember much from these Kifus? So in this game, Ding Hao is black, Mi Yuting is white.
Now, when was this game played?
This was 22nd of November.
Okay, so I didn't actually. Yeah, so this was a Tuesday, so I wasn't able to follow this game closely.
Yeah.
I only followed game 2.
Yep. Yep.
Let's just have a quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah, scrolling through the moves and see
So
anything that stands out.
I just remember watching the commentary for this one, and basically it's if you look at it, it looks like it's black. A lot of black stones are captured, but black is surprisingly flexible in that he's got a few coasts to kind of save himself with. So so after this, the commentator kind of likes black's position because it looks like a lot of black stones are under Atari and whatnot, but it's still salvageable because it's just a series of codes. So black hasn't lost that many things yet. So they kind of start this fight over here. Now this fight is actually very 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 intense. So look at white over here. White obviously is not alive, and there's this cutting point right here, which currently doesn't work for black. So Mi Yuting just pushes out, and I think up to here the AI says it's 50-50. Choi Jeong says it's fightable for both, and Choi Jeong was a little bit surprised by so once black played here because black needs to go out. Black couldn't have cut here right now. Black needs to kind of make sure that it's got enough liberty before it cuts here. So the Choi Jeong, and I do believe AI was saying that it's now the time for white to protect this cut. Just play the tiger's mouth, right? That seems to be the natural move. But what did Mi Yuting do? Nope.
Tanuki?
Yep, it jumps out. Which I think obviously Mi Yuting is known for his local reading. So people were saying, "Whoa, what's happening?" Had Mi Yuting read out all the variations here and worked out that it's gonna work, and well, I guess you can kind of see the idea behind this move because this 3 blackstone here is also a little bit weak. So, and maybe he's trying to set up some kind of capturing race with these stones here. And Ding Hao in his interviews, post game interview, he was like, if I cannot read out a situation perfectly, like obviously some sequences, some situations are too complicated to read out, he said, I will just try to play the strongest move, because if you keep retreating little by little, then it's almost like death by 1,000 cuts. So what did Ding Hao do in response? Ka-chong! He just cut. All right, that's
nice.
So at this point, of course, it's still very complicated. So nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen. But Choi Jeong says, this doesn't feel right for black. This doesn't feel right for white. So let's see what happens. So they kind of fight it out. And apparently these moves were mistakes by Mi Yuting. I don't know if Mi Yuting has actually read all of this out because it's actually really complicated. But whatever happened, it turned out that this is gonna be at least it's I think white can capture this black with the code or something, but white but white will lose the tail when black connects here, because white just doesn't have liberty. So
Yeah.
basically by this time, but losing this tail is just pretty horrible for white. Even though black here is also dead, but it's just bigger. It's just bigger for it's a bigger loss for white. So
Yeah, because that area on the left was originally white's anyway.
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So I think after that, yeah, it was yeah. Joe Young was not big fan of Mi Yuting's position, and also here, Ding Hao also managed to capture all of these as well. Like they just cleanly captured. So yeah, after that, basically he just said not no really no chance for Mi Yuting, but Mi Yuting kept on fighting for a bit because he didn't want to just give up. But I think at least after this, it was just never gonna be enough for me. And me try to do some tricks here. I think
And
theoretically,
actually, yeah.
yeah, you're gonna say.
Actually, the isn't that a Seki now in the at the bottom?
Yeah, it's now Seki actually. Yeah,
So that's even worse.
yeah, it's
So
even worse.
white didn't even capture black there.
No, yeah. So I think there was some trick moves here as well, but yeah, it was not never gonna work out for Mi Yuting. So Mi Yuting just lost game one. Uh, I think it's all because he decided not to protect the cut and decided to kind of try and capture this black or put pressure on black instead. Whatever led to that decision uh, ended up eventually just kind of led to the loss by me. So it could be a misreading or misjudge of the situation, whatever it was. It wasn't pretty. Okay, so that was game one, and I believe game two was played right away yesterday, and this is Ding
No, it
Hao.
was actually played on Wednesday. It was played
Right.
right after game the day after game one.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So this is them again, and this is the post game interview with Ding Hao. Given since that all the reporters are crowding around Ding Hao, you could already guess what's happened. Yes, so Ding Hao beat Mi Yuting by another beautiful display. So in this game, Ding Hao is white, Mi Yuting is black. I thought this opening was curious in that it's maybe rarer, but according to the pro commentary, this is actually like a Joseki of sorts. So obviously, if white blocks, then black can push and cut, and then ended up capturing these. So this blocking is kind of like a wasted move. So Ding Hao doesn't do that. Obviously, he just pushes up. Apparently, this is it's I don't see it very often, but apparently it's kind of like a Joseki now. Anyway, so they keep playing. So it's so far so normal. Nothing really happens here. And one thing that's really interesting that Joe Young said after he's seen the opening like this, he says Mi Yuting almost never gets the upper hand in the opening stage in the Fuseki. But his fighting power is so great that he kind of makes up for it in the middle game. So basically, he kind of senses that it's Mi Yuting has fallen a little bit behind already, but it's not obviously still very playable for both sides. It ends up being a reasonably complex game, so they start kind of this co-fight really early on, and this is over here is a very interesting fight over here. So both sides got cutting points. So when white descends, obviously there's a cutting point here, but notice that black has a cutting point here as well. But and after white extends, this black cutting point now works. It used to not work because black can just Atari down. So black has to protect this cutting point by playing here. So and then once black blocks here, white blocks here, black's lost the opportunity to push and cut. So so it's kind of like a painful move for black, but what black gets in return is this cut. So yeah, so black kind of puts more pressure, cuts the white in two, and puts pressure on both groups. But yeah, I think Joe Young. I remember Joe Young saying he liked Ding Hao's play here. He likes Ding Hao's position better because after this move, this is quite big. This black group here is probably gonna die. It's not 100% dead yet, but it's probably gonna die. So white's got a lot of points in this area. So it kind of likes Ding Hao's position already, but of course it's still very fightable, which is very very complex. Yeah. So then Ding Hao starts this fight over here, which was quite interesting. I think at this point, basically Zhou Yang says that Ding Hao is ahead already, especially after Ding Hao kind of connects back. So black, even though black's invested a move here and invested all of these black stones, he still didn't end up capturing very much, if anything at all. So yeah. So Zhou was not a big fan of Mi Yuting's position, and also Mi Yuting also lost the tail here as well. So
yeah, that's big.
Yeah, so Ding Hao is already quite ahead on points, on pure points. So that's when Mi Yuting decides to start a fight over here, which Ding Hao ignored. Says, okay, I'm going to just make sure I get all of these points for sure, and still put more pressure on this group. And then Mi Yuting goes, "Damn you! How dare you ignore me?" And clamps. And this kind of starts a really beautiful fight here by Ding Hao. Now Ding Hao pretends they want to run out with the whole group over here, and then all of a sudden he kind of just sacrifices it and just gets a reasonably strong outside, so that he stabilizes his position. He kind of just gives up all of these stones, sacrifices them, and in exchange for a fairly thick group over here. Because I think, according to the commentary, Ding already senses that he's ahead, even though he's not ahead by like so much that he's guaranteed to win. He senses that he's ahead, so he kind of just plays here. Now you notice that here, even though white is captured, white's got quite a few liberties. So imagine if white Atari is here, black has no time to connect, because black has to start filling in the liberties from behind. So that means white can capture these 3 stones, guaranteeing 1 eye at least, and 1 eye guarantee here, and there's potential to make eyes here. So this white group is actually quite strong. So I think it's at a stage where Ding Hao just tries to play thickly, and he'll win the game. So that's what Ding Hao tries to do. But Mi Yuting decides that okay, I'm going to try and start a fight. Try to pull out with all of these groups and try to threaten this white group. But Ding Hao, I think, just played pretty well here. So capturing even more stones. And at this point, Mi Yuting just resigned, because I think there's a good chance that all of these black stones here will get captured after this. So it was just never gonna be enough for Mi Yuting after this point. So
black's lost a lot of stones on the right now.
Yeah.
Like including the upper right. And yeah, it's just too much real estate for white, I think, at this point. So
Ding Hao's basically won this series 2-0. He retains the Qishi title because I think in the first year it was a pure knockout. In the first edition of this competition was a pure knockout. So Ding Hao won that one, and that's the year when Ding Hao went to number 2 in the rankings, and then before he kind of just tumbled down the rankings with a string of bad results. Ding Hao said that in the Jar League he's got a 5-3 record this year, and that kind of helped him build his confidence. Of course, he also got a win against Kerje in the Jar League. So, maybe that was kind of what helped him with his confidence level.
Yeah, it seems like he's back in good form.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be back into number 2 so soon, but he seems to have turned his form around. So let's see if we see more good things from Ding Hao. Oh, and of course, Ding Hao made the final of the LG Cup. He will play Yang Dingxin in the final in February. So more things to look forward to for Ding Hao. So that's it. That concludes the coverage of the Qishi. Gaza. Shall we then move?
Actually, one more thing I wanted to mention: the Qishi was you mentioned there was some Chinese live streams covering it.
Yeah.
They weren't quite at this. Now we know when there are Korean games.
Yeah.
The live streams. I mean, Korea has a 24-hour channel called Baduk TV.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is, professional quality streaming with a caster and a commentator.
Yeah.
The Chinese coverage, the Chinese streams of the Dutchy show wasn't quite on that level, was it?
Well, no. So it's quite strange because China's also got its own pay TV channel specialized in Weiqi called Tianyuan TV. But that one, the coverage there, let's say, looks quite amateurish versus the Korean productions. They're basically just two persons standing in front of a static board. No live stream of the players, nothing. So basically, yeah. And also, most of the streams are in China. Most of them are done on this platform called Douyin. And Douyin is in the West is known as TikTok. So they do a lot of live streams there, and some of the picture qualities are it's basically usually just a pro, and a pro would show the game on game in the Fox client, and that's what they show. And I guess you kind of still have to be reasonably good with technology if you want to do that, because if you're not, you could end up doing a little bit of a stream where you kind of run into technical issues, shall we say? Yeah, Gaza, have you seen any of those streams?
I didn't get to. I watched one of them by Zhou Ruoyang.
Yeah.
But you showed me one of the streams. I think here it is.
Yeah. And and when I say technical issues, this is what I mean. So I have not rotated this image at all. This is exactly how it comes out in one of those streams. Obviously, this is not a stream of the professional games. It was just I believe two old timers. I believe on this person here, by the way, is Chen Yuping. I believe he was the first Chinese player to make an international major final. This is even before. Oh no, he might be the second after Weiqi.
Right.
And this person here is, I believe, Dr.G League. He's a famous Weiqi broadcaster in Shanghai, but he only broadcasts from the Shanghai area, I believe. So yeah. But anyway, but the visuals look maybe not like this because it's actually two persons doing in front of a board, but the visuals in the normal streams, for example, by Choi Jeong was just him in a chair and the Fox client showing the Kifu. Yeah, that was about it. Gaza?
Yep.
After we look at the Dachishi, let's move to Japan and look at another major domestic title there. And,
yes. So we have mentioned in other podcasts the Kisei.
Yep.
Now, this Kisei, I believe this is the 47th Kisei.
Yep.
We've covered all of the qualifiers. We've covered all of the leagues.
Yep.
And all that was left was the Challenger playoff.
Right.
And, of course, the title match afterwards.
Yeah.
So, when we left last week, I believe that Yamashita Keigo was playing against Shibano Toramaru.
Right.
But Yamashita had to beat Shibano twice without losing.
Yeah.
And that's because Shibano was the winner of the S League, and so he got the privilege of having a twice-to-beat advantage over whoever sort of came up against him, which ended up being Yamashita.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that we did quickly mention that Yamashita won game one.
Yep.
Won that game.
Yep.
Of course, that meant that they were essentially now all square, and that there would be one final game, and whoever won that game would be the challenger of the Kisei.
Yep.
And that Kisei Challenger game was on the Monday, the 21st of November.
Yeah.
And in that game, let's see, Shibano was white, I believe. Yes. Shibano was white.
Yeah.
And just a preface of this, I believe that this format of having this sort of stepladder challenger tournament with, S League, A League, B League, C League has been in place in the Kisei system since 2014. And every single time, in every single edition of the Kisei, the S League winner has ended up becoming the challenger.
Right.
So if Yamashita wins this game, he will become the first person outside of the S League champion to challenge for the Kisei.
Yeah.
And so Shibano was trying to not be the first person on the wrong side of history. And this game, it was quite an interesting game. Obviously, I followed it, very keen to see how it went. And there was some, I found that, I'm not sure if you watched this game, but after the opening, I think the most interesting part happened in the bottom right.
Right. You mean over here?
Yes. Wait. Am I? Okay.
This is game. I'm looking at game 2.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had game 1 open.
Yeah,
What did I
I'm looking at game 2.
Sorry, and I have to correct myself. Shibano was black. Shibano's black in this game.
Yeah, correct. Shibano's black.
Yeah, I said that he was white, but he was actually white in game 1, which he lost, and then he was black in this game. So Shibano is black. Yes, and I found this right-hand side, this lower right area, to be quite interesting because it looks like white is struggling here. White stones.
Yeah.
And now, and they should die. Black should be able to kill it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that white can make some RG. White can make these stones useful.
Yeah.
And so they make a ko.
Yeah.
And the thing is, white. I think white only really had that one ko threat, right? At P7, which he played.
Yeah.
But then Shibano plays at N9.
Yeah.
Which
this peep over here. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, it's actually not that bad a ko threat, to be honest.
Right.
But what does Yamashita do?
He kind of just finished off the ko. So he
finishes off the ko, yes. And now what I found interesting here is that even though he finishes off the ko, Shibano can still play O2. Black can still play O2 here.
Yeah. Just, get rid of
And-
RG. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's still not bad for black. Those 3 white stones are captured.
Yeah.
White has a bit of a corner.
Yeah.
White has a corner, a very small corner. And white probably still should need to respond to that N9 stone.
Yeah.
But Shibano, obviously, he decides he can't. He decides he can't do that. He has to commit. To the ko threat.
Yeah. So cuts.
Yes. And then for the next few moves, I still think black can still play O2.
Yeah. I mean, either white can play here or black can play here. No,
Yes. But they ignore it. Obviously these pros think that move is not big enough. Like there are bigger moves on the board.
Yeah. Now this is actually very interesting because if I didn't look at this with AI, I would also think that it's this one is not that big a deal because as black I'm strong, I'm reasonably strong here. I'm not really at risk of dying here, so this just makes me thick and just some Yosei points. I can even count exactly how many points I gain. It's like these ones. So it's about 10, 12, about 12 points maybe. Yeah, maybe a bit bigger.
12 points and you lose Sente.
Yeah. So I thought, I know why isn't, for example, this one bigger? Because it's 12 points. But yeah. But actually turns out that things like this actually quite big, surprisingly big. Yeah. Gaza.
Yeah. So in the end, so they do play for a few more moves. And in the end, White eventually plays 0-2.
Yeah. I think eventually, yeah. Now, I think it's a lot later. They play 0-2.
It is a lot later, and it's probably less important.
Yeah, by this point, I think.
Yeah, and then that gives Black, but that does allow Black to make another move in the top right.
Yeah.
Because Black has Sente now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Black can get a fairly, decent sized Moyo in the upper right.
Yeah.
And it looks like if you look at White's stones, like it looks like he's playing Yamashita seems to be trying to channel his inner Gosei again here.
Right.
In the upper right, he's got white stones all over the place. The problem is there's really not much they really don't have much influence.
They don't seem to work together well, these white stones.
Yeah.
And I think this is the part of the game when I thought it's kind of falling apart for Yamashita, because he seems to be throwing random stones on the board at this point, and all kind of broken. I just thought, I think at this point I kind of just thought, it's definitely going to be Shibano's game, because it's just playing stones and he's kind of leaving them there. He was kind of, it almost feels like he knows that he can do nothing at this stage, but he's kind of hoping that somehow at some point in the future that they could kind of make use of them. But that's kind of really wishful thinking. That's what it feels like to me. But yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, it just never ended up.
Yeah.
Never ended up working. Shibano he basically just gave Shibano too many opportunities to attack and make Yamashita weak, make White weak, and it was just not enough. Nothing that White could do in the end. It was just very strong play by Shibano. From after Yamashita played 0-2, Shibano's play was almost flawless.
Yeah,
I think really really strong, and eventually after 209 moves, Yamashita resigned.
Yeah, I think it just doesn't have enough.
And so conceded the Kisei challenge opportunity to Shibano.
To Shibano, yes.
Which means that the Kisei, the final games of this Kisei season will be the title match, which will be between the current Kisei, Ichiriki Ryo, and the current Meijin, Shibano Toramaru.
Yeah.
And I think you would agree when I say that, Japanese Go fans have been anticipating this match for quite some time. Ichiriki and Shibano seem to be they're obviously two of the top players. They've already won a lot of titles, not just the big titles, but things like I think they've both won the NHK Cup. They've both won the Ryusei. They've obviously both featured in multiple Nongshim Cups.
Yep.
Obviously they have the top two titles in Japan right now. So it looks like it's perhaps the Ayama era is starting to move into the twilight.
Yep.
And it's Ichiriki and Shibano's time, and maybe also Su Shawan at some point.
Yeah. Well, they are referred to as the three crows. They are kind of expected to be the leading figures of the Japanese Go in the coming years. But yeah, is this the first time the three crows have met in the final of a big three title match?
A big three, certainly, because Su Shawan has never played in a big three title match.
Right.
The big three being the Kisei, Meijin, and Honinbo.
Yep.
And Ichiriki, I mean, Ayama has held the Honinbo since, these guys were not even pro.
Yeah.
And Ayama only just lost the Kisei.
Yeah.
And with the Meijin, Shibano only held it. Shibano's only played Choyu and Ayama in the Meijin. So this is definitely the first time that they've met in in a 2-day game. The first time they'll meet in a 2-day game. Yeah, of course they've had. Last year Shibano lost to Su Shawan in the Judan.
Yep.
So they have played in a major title match before, but not a 2-day.
Not one of these big
game.
threes. So yeah. So this definitely does feel like the beginning of a new era. Potentially just opening the curtains on that.
Yes, of course we're not going to say that Ayama's time has passed.
Yeah.
It almost certainly has not. But yes, it is. I do think this is certainly something to look forward to. Very exciting. And we'll definitely be covering it if this podcast still exists.
Yeah.
At that point.
Almost sure it will. Guys, I did want to just come back to this point. This point in the game again, because I did look at this with AI, and I find this really interesting and very instructive. Because you know how I said, if you play here, that's kind of just like maybe 12 points, maybe a bit more. But this is very interesting because according to this is how I think AI is thinking about this. But so after Shibano had played this, AI suggested White should play here right away. And the idea is, like, for example, if Black plays away now, apparently, Black is not going to play there. Like, so maybe, like, imagine if White did play here, then Black will go, okay, I threatened you. I wanted you to run away with this, but you didn't run, so I'm going to capture you. But this is really beautiful. I think the thinking in AI is that, well, yeah, this looks big, but they are just actually not that many points because I can now take away your points from below, threatening to cut back. And if you want to block me, I have this Hane. Of course, this Hane, the idea behind this Hane is that I can Atari, cut off. Or if you protect here, I can just go here, connect back, and kind of live. So it's actually... So AI's got some really beautiful ideas behind this, saying that actually this looks big, but even if you capture it, it's actually not that big because I can destroy your bottom. So this is actually really instructive because if you can kind of think like that, like play so flexibly, being willing to give up when you can see an opportunity to kind of make use of your death stones, then you can win a lot more of your games, I think. But yeah, that's a very interesting point. Okay, Gaza. So that's it about the Kisei. Looking forward to the match. But
yes, I don't know when it starts, but it's not for a while.
Right. Yeah. I think might be next year maybe. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Gaza, staying in Japan. There's another competition that's happened in the last week.
Yes. Now this one is sort of more an exhibition.
Right.
But we don't really have that many pro games. Well, no, not many more pro games to look at. And I wanted to talk about this exhibition.
Right.
So, they seem to have a bit of spare time in Japan at the moment.
Yeah.
So they had an exhibition between different sort of representations of the Japanese professional scene.
Yeah.
So, and this was fairly fast games. This exhibition happened all in one day, and they had 4 teams of 5 players.
Right.
And one of the teams was the women's team.
Yep.
So basically the top women's players. So in this case, we had Suzuki Ayumi, Ji Yimin, Fujisawa Arena, Yuno Asami, and Hoshiai Shiho.
Yep.
Another team was the Chubu representative team, the Chubu region. So that's one of the regions of the Nihon Kiin.
Right.
And that had Hane Naoki, Ida Atsushi, Matsuyura Yuta, Otake Yu, and Kato Chi.
Yep.
Then, of course, we have the Kansai region.
Right.
So that's the Kansai region of the Nihon Kiin, as well as the Kansai Kiin.
Right.
And that had Yamada Kimio, Murakawa Daisuke, Sato Taiki, Sada Atsushi, and Omori Ran.
Right. Yeah.
And then finally, we had, the Legends team. So these are players that have dominated the Japanese Go scene maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. But are still very, very strong. And, you may recognize some of these names. Ishida Yoshio, Takemiya Masaki, Yamashiro Hiroshi, Yuki Satoshi, and Cho Yu.
Right.
That's a very, very strong team.
Yeah.
And the way that it worked was they just had semi-final. It was knockout and semi-finals and finals. So each match was, just a 5 versus 5. So 5 games.
Yep.
And whichever team, won the most games. So if you won 3 or more games, your team won. And the losing team was out of the competition.
Right.
And I think initially, what was so it was, I think, the women's team played, who did they play? Did they play the Chubu team in the first semi-final? Let me quickly check. No, they played the Legends team. So the women's team and the Legends team played in the first semi-final. Now, interestingly enough, after they had the draw, so they had a random draw to determine who the semi-finalists, who would be playing each other in the semi-finalists.
Right.
And it turned out that Asami Yuno was unavailable to play.
Right.
And so she was replaced. But she ended up being replaced by Ichiriki Ryo, the current Kisei.
Yeah, I was wondering why Ichiriki is appearing in this picture, but even though,
as you, I'm not sure if you can see that picture there, but Ichiriki is representing the women's team now.
Yay!
And why that is happening, I've got no idea, but my guess is that he just happened to be there. Maybe he was going to be there as a commentator.
Right.
And I also don't know why Yuno Asami was absent, why she wasn't able to play.
Right. I think she had COVID or something.
Oh, did she?
I think I vaguely recall seeing something like that. Yeah.
Possibly she got coronavirus, I guess. So she was replaced by Ichiriki.
Yeah.
And despite having the Kisei on their team, the Legends team ended up winning.
Yeah. So I think that's what
they won. They won 3-2.
Yep.
And then so the other semi-final was obviously Team Chubu versus the Kansai team.
Yep.
And the Chubu team, they ended up winning. I believe they also won 3-2.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Daisuke lost.
Yeah, Daisuke lost.
Yeah. Sada
Atsushi won. Seito Taiki won.
Yeah.
Ida Atsushi won.
Yeah.
And Hane Naoki beat Yamada Kimio.
Yeah. By 1.5. So so that's what happened.
So the final was then the Legends team versus the Chubu region.
Yep.
And Otake Yu, for the Chubu team, he ended up winning. He beat Ishida Yoshio.
Yep, by 17.5 points.
17.5 points, yeah. So nice win there. Unfortunately, he was the only member of the Chubu team to win.
Yep. Which kind of surprised me, because.
Well, it shows that the Legends team still have some fight in them.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, players like Yuki Satoshi and Cho Yu are still some of the better players in Japan.
Yeah.
Takemiya Masaki, he ended up beating Hane Naoki. So, Hane Naoki is a little bit there in terms of age.
Yeah.
And Yamashiro Hiroshi played. He beat Kato Chi.
Yeah.
Who a very strong women's player, but probably the weakest player on that Chubu team.
Yeah.
So I think the matchups were in favor of the Legends team.
Right. Yeah. But
still, they are the champions, and they probably were the strongest team in the end.
Yeah.
There was a stream of this. Yeah, it seemed like a very fun thing to do. I wouldn't have minded seeing Cho Chi-hoon on the Legends team, to be honest.
Yep.
I'm not sure if they plan to have another one of these.
Yep.
And
let's see.
Yeah, if they do, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all seemed to be good fun. I don't think there was any. Oh yeah, actually, the Legends team won 5 million yen.
Yeah, I think I saw them holding the prop check. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about, in Australian dollars, that's about $1,000 each.
Oh, okay.
For them, so not a bad chunk of change, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, good on them.
No, I think 1 million yen is like 10,000 Australian.
You know what? That's actually right. I was thinking of 5 million Korean won.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, 5 million yen is actually about 50,000 Australian dollars. So that's $10,000 each.
Yeah,
so that's
not bad. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. That's like a minor women's title in Korea.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
For comparison, I do believe that the Australian National Chess Open, the Open tournament for chess, I think the winner gets 8,000. So this is pretty good. So it's about 10,000 Australian each for each of the 5 players.
Yeah. No wonder they're happy. Far out.
Yeah, mate. Pretty happy. Okay, so that's it about this this special exhibition match, which I don't really know the name of, but whatever. So, Gaza, shall we start looking at some of the more interesting news items? So this time we're moving.
I want to go back to Korea.
Yep. So shall we start with this one?
Oh yes. Okay. So I've got a few news items on the Korean women's scene.
Right.
So first one is that something we kind of missed in the past few weeks is that Choi Jeong has set a new record for most wins by a Korean women's player.
Right.
She, in fact, so the previous record before Choi Jeong was Cho Hee-yeon.
Right.
A very strong women's 9-dan.
Yep.
Who actually speaks English, by the way.
Yep.
And once visited Australia at the Go Congress.
Yep.
But she held the record for most wins by a Korean woman with 674. And it turned out that Choi Jeong, when she beat Byun Sang-il to make the final of the Samsung Cup, obviously, a historic performance, being the first woman to make the final of the Samsung Cup, but it turned out that it was doubly historic because that was also her 675th professional win.
Oh wow!
Which set a new record.
Yeah.
For most wins by a Korean women's professional, and she's obviously won a few more games since then.
Yep.
And now she is at 680.
Crazy.
And yeah, almost certainly next year she'll become the first Korean woman to reach 700.
Yep.
Now, I'm pretty sure in terms of like women from any country, from any region,
Yep.
in terms of professional wins,
Yep.
she would be number 2,
Right.
I believe,
Right.
behind, or maybe number 3. There might be a Japanese woman that has more,
Right.
but I am not sure.
Right.
But certainly the number 1 player for most professional wins is Roy Nawe.
Right.
The problem that I do have is that I don't know exactly how many professional wins Roy Nawe has.
Yeah.
Because her, at the very least, her win records before 1999 are not easily available.
Yeah.
You can if you look at all of her now, Roy Nawe played in Korea from 1999 to 2012,
Right.
and her win totals when she was in Korea are known.
Yeah.
And if you go to Go ratings and look at all of the games with Kifus, that combines to a little over 700 wins.
Right.
For Roy Nawe. So she has at least, something like 705 wins.
At least, yeah.
Yes. But you also have to include games that she played in China that don't have game records.
Right, yeah.
And so games from probably from the beginning of her career in the 80s.
Yeah.
There'd probably be a few of those that don't have game records. As in they don't have Kifus, so records of the moves.
Yeah.
And in those games won't be on Go ratings. And I don't know how many of those there are. So yeah, how many games she's actually won above 705, I don't know.
Right.
She could have 800 wins. She could have 900 wins.
Yeah.
I would guess it's probably maybe a little bit above 800 wins.
Yeah.
But, until the CWA sort of release that sort of information, it's definitely going to be not known at what point Choi Jeong, if she does, at what point she would be the number 1 in terms of professional wins. Yes.
But I do have a feeling that if Choi Jeong continues to play, she might become the first woman to go over 1,000 wins.
I definitely think she has the ability to get to 1,000 wins, and if she does get to 1,000 wins, she would almost certainly be the first woman to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be some sight. So congrats to Choi Jeong, and now to one Choi Jeong to another former Korean number 1 woman, I do believe, Park Ji-young. What's new about her?
Well, so Park Ji-young has, she has had a very good, strong career. She won a few titles, and she may have, perhaps had a claim of the strongest Korean women's player before Choi Jeong took that title.
Yeah.
Perhaps. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But she's currently playing in the Dr.G Korea Women's Strongest Tournament.
Yeah.
Which is perhaps I would consider it the most prestigious women's tournament in Korea.
Right. Yeah.
Just based on the fact that there's a league involved.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of games.
Yeah.
And the way this league works, if we could, I wouldn't mind showing an update on this.
Yeah.
Because this goes hand in hand with the Park Ji-yeon news.
Yeah.
Now, there are 8 players in this league.
Yeah.
And it's a round robin, so each player will play 7 games. Now, Park Ji-yeon, after she played, I think, her 6th game or maybe her 5th game, they had an interview with her.
Yeah.
And she announced that she was going to retire.
Yeah.
after this tournament. Which I found, I thought that was sort of a bit sad news, because Park Ji-yeon is still, obviously she's still quite strong, having been strong enough to qualify for this tournament in the first place.
Yeah.
She's still, a formidable player in the Korean Women's League. And she's also in the top 10 in the women's rankings.
Yeah.
So she's still a very capable and strong player. She also, I believe, she played in the Samsung Cup, and she actually made it to the round of 16 in her only attempt.
Right.
At the Samsung Cup, I believe.
Yeah.
And she's not that old.
Yeah.
But obviously she's I guess she's just gotten tired.
Yeah.
Perhaps, of playing Go all the time.
Yeah.
And wants to try something else.
Right.
Yeah, because it's obviously not, it's obviously not because she's gotten worse. I mean, it's not because of lack of form that's causing her to make this decision. She's clearly still in fairly good form. But I guess she's just decided that it's time to move on.
Yep.
And
basically she's already played her 7 games in the league already. So she lost to Hyo Seo-hyun. She beat Kim Chae-young. She beat Kim Yoon-ji. She beat Ko Mi-so. But she lost to Choi Jeong, and she beat Kim Kyung-yoon. Yeah. And she lost to Oh Yoo-jin. So she's got a 4-3 record in the league.
Yeah. With strong wins against Kim Yoon-ji and Kim Chae-young.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is, there is a small chance that she actually finishes third.
Right.
In this tournament. Now, this is actually the second running of this tournament. The first edition was called the Hoban Cup.
Right.
This year it has a different sponsor, the Dr.G Korea Women's Strongest. But in the last edition, the top 3 kept their spot in the league. And I'm presuming that the top 3 this year will keep their spot.
Yeah.
So, but if Park Ji-yeon finishes third, that would be interesting. It would probably mean that there would be 6 qualifying spots instead of 5.
Yeah.
Because if Park Ji-yeon finishes third, she's not going to play next year because she's retiring. So yeah, quite curious. And with a 4-3 final record, there's a small chance that she does finish third. Because she does have the tiebreak over players like Kim Yoon-ji. Because she beat Kim Yoon-ji.
Yep.
We shall see, though.
Yep.
Yeah. And staying on the Dr. G Korea Women's Strongest Tournament, because we are getting closer to the end of the league.
Yep.
And as we've mentioned, I'm not sure, we haven't mentioned it in this podcast, but the top 2 players will play a best of 3 final.
Right. Yep.
So it's really about who gets. You don't need to win the league. You just need to finish in the top 2, and then it's all about the final.
Yeah.
Now, currently, Choi Jeong, Kim Chae-young, and Park Ji-yeon are all on 4 wins.
Yep.
Park Ji-yeon has already played her quota of games. Kim Chae-young still has 1 game left.
Yep.
And Choi Jeong still has 2 games remaining.
Yep.
So they're looking very strong for the final.
Yep.
Moving down, Kim Yoon-ji has 3 wins.
Yep.
With 2 games still to play.
Yep.
So she is a good chance. She might finish. She probably needs to win both games to finish in the top 3.
Yeah.
I don't recall. Can you scroll down to see who she has left to play?
So Kim Yoon-ji is yet to play Hyo Seo-hyun and Ko Miso. So you'd imagine she'd win those two.
She would definitely be the favorite in both of those matchups.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. Hyo Seo-hyun is got 3 wins with 1 game left.
Yep.
Now, I think she was actually the last player to win a game.
Right.
So having 3 wins is a pretty good recovery. I think that may have actually been her last 3 games.
Right.
So I'm not sure. I don't think she can even finish in the top 3, even if she wins her last game.
Yeah.
But I think 3 wins is good considering how she started.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think the big surprise is Ou Jin.
Yeah.
She only has 3 wins from 6 games.
Yeah.
I believe so. She did lose to Kim Chae Young. But who else did she lose to?
Ou Jin. She lost to Hyo Seo-hyun, Kim Chae
And
Young,
Kim
and
Yoon
Kim
Ji.
Yoon-ji. Yeah.
Right. And she still has Choi Jeong left to play. So
Yeah.
it's going to be hard. I don't know if she could even. It's very unlikely that she's going to finish top 3.
Yeah.
And then, at the bottom we've got Kim Kyung-yoon and Ko Miso, probably the 2 two weakest players in this tournament. I think both of them should probably just happy that they didn't finish with 0 wins.
Right. Yeah.
In particular, Ko Miso getting a win. I believe she got a win over Hyo Seo-hyun.
Yeah.
I think she should be fairly happy with that. And she only turned pro this year, so
Right.
I think just making this league is a huge achievement for her.
Yeah.
And this is a stepping stone for the rest of her career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good update on the Dr. G.
Yeah.
Now
And
according-
speaking of, but
Yeah.
yes, focusing on one of the players. So, like I said, Kim Yoon-ji, if she wins her last 2 games, she's got a good chance of making the top 3 and possibly even the top 2.
Yeah.
But outside of the Dr. G Korean Women's Strongest League, she recently played in and won a minor women's tournament called the Hyorim Cup.
Yeah. I think
Now,
in some places it's been translated as literally translated as a future Empress Cup or something. So
yes, the future Baduk Empress Cup. Yes,
Right,
something like that.
Yeah.
And it's specifically some people have it's even been said this is basically the tournament to find the next Choi Jeong.
Or the tournament to give some free money to Kim Yoon-ji.
Or the tournament to find the next player after Choi Jeong. Now, interestingly enough, they had a tournament like this earlier this year in January called the Millennial Women's Cup or something like that. It was a different sponsor with a different name.
Right.
But it was basically, it's a tournament specifically for young women's players.
Right.
So I think it's you have to be under 20 or maybe under 21 or something, and a woman.
Right.
And they had one of these in January this year, and Kim Hyo Young won it.
Right.
But it was a different sponsor. This time the sponsor is Hyorim. And so it was basically, but other than that, it was very similar. So there were only 18 entrants. There were only 18 participants in this tournament.
Yeah.
So you only had to play 4 games, or in a couple of cases 5 games.
Yep.
And in the end, yes, Kim Yoon-ji won, and this is her first title, her first professional title.
Well done.
Yeah, her first official professional title. So, now in Korea, when you win a title, if you win an open title, a major open title, you gain 2 ranks.
Right.
Whereas if you win a restricted title, you gain 1 rank. But in this case, because it was, I believe, because it's like extra restricted because it's for youth and women.
Right.
Kim Yoon-ji, I don't think she gains a rank.
Right.
I don't think she gains any rank from this one.
Okay. Oh wow.
So she still stays as a 3-dan. But yeah, this has kept off, a pretty insane year for Kim Yoon-ji. It does seem like she's trying to make up for lost time because obviously, as many people are aware, she was banned. She didn't play at all between November 2020 and November 2021.
No.
That's because she was suspended for using AI in an online tournament.
Yeah.
But then since she's come back, she's definitely been trying to make up for lost time. She's played a ton of games, and it almost seems like the KBA is making more and more tournaments for her to participate in.
Right. Yeah.
But it appears that she is the first player ever, men or women,
right,
to win over 100 games in a calendar year.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, she's this win in the final here against Kim Min-jung was her 104th professional win just in 2022.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Now, to give some comparison, over the last 2 calendar years, so 2021 and 2022, the most wins by a Japanese professional is by Yuno Asami.
Yeah.
And in those 2 calendar years, she's won 100 games.
Right.
Whereas Kim Yoon-ji has won 104 just in 2022.
It's just crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I believe the previous record for most wins by a professional in a calendar year was 90. Was by the current Korean coach Mok Jin-sok.
Yep.
In 2007, he won 93 games.
Right.
Yeah, so Kim Yoon-ji just absolutely smashed that record. Got over 100 wins. Like it's difficult to see how they find the time to play all those games because it's not like she's winning all of her games either. She wins about 2/3 of her games, or maybe about 70% or something like that. She's played 151 games. This year.
Yeah.
And we're in November. She's played close to 1 game every 2 days.
Yeah, crazy.
Which you may think is not that much, but for professionals, it most certainly is. And it just goes to show just how much Baduk they play in Korea. By comparison, the second most wins this year is Shin Jin-so. He's won 77 games.
Yeah, still crazy.
Yeah, and that's still crazy for him. That's a good year.
Yeah.
For Shin Jin-so.
Yeah.
He's actually played less games than Kim Yoon-ji has won.
Right.
Yeah. So but it's also good that there's a lot of tournaments for young players, a lot of tournaments for women, and a lot of tournaments for young women players.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good thing that it's giving them more professional experience.
Yeah.
Competitive experience, albeit it's against fellow women or fellow young players.
Yeah.
But it's still professional games, and this is probably a good thing for the future of Korean Baduk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can't go wrong if you play games. Yeah. So, all right. So that's our coverage for some of the more minor news items. Gaza, are there any other item you wanted to cover before we go to the calendar?
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I honestly can't remember. Yes. Sorry. In China.
China, yes.
We've just finished the lower leagues in China.
That's right.
So in China there are three different open leagues, right? There's the Jia League, the Yi League, and the Bing League.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, in China, the Yi League is sort of currently on a different schedule.
Right.
I mean, the Jia League, sorry. The Jia League is sort of on a different schedule, but this week we just concluded the Yi League and the Bing League.
Yeah, and also the Women's Yi League.
And also the Women's Yi League. So the Yi League is the second division.
Correct. Yeah.
Essentially. The Bing League is the third division, and so the Women's Yi League is the second women's division.
That's right, yeah.
Now, the important thing. Now, the thing is, it's hard to get the results of these leagues.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I'm not sure if many people would even know who most of the Chinese players are in the Yi and Bing leagues.
Yeah.
But something worth mentioning is that in the Yi League, there was a Team Japan, which was made up entirely of Japanese players.
Yeah.
And a Team Taiwan, made up entirely of Taiwanese players. And the Bing League also had a Taiwanese team.
Correct, yeah.
Now, these, like I said, the Jia League is the top division, the Yi League is the second division, and the Bing League is the third division.
Yeah.
But like for instance, the English soccer or English football, whatever you want to call it,
yeah,
there is promotion and relegation.
Yeah.
So if you finish high enough in the Yi League, you can get promoted to the Jia League.
Yeah.
And same with the Bing League, you can get promoted to the Yi League.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you finish poorly in the Yi League, you'll get demoted.
Yeah.
Now, as it turned out, in the Bing League, the Taiwanese team for the Bing League was actually quite a formidable team. It included Wang Wanjun,
Yep.
probably the second strongest player in Taiwan at the moment. He represented Taiwan in the LG Cup.
Yeah.
Beat Wang Songjin.
Yeah.
And I believe that they finished high enough in the Bing League to get promoted to the Yi League next season.
I think they actually finished first.
Wow, so they finished first in the Bing League. They won the Bing League. And there you go. You see them there.
Yeah.
It's a very strong lineup.
Yeah.
And do you know? Can you recite the players' names? I think we should give them credit.
Yeah. So of course this person here is Wang Yuan.
Second from the right is Wang Wanjun.
And the second player, counting from the left, is Lin Junyan. So both Lin and Wang are title holders. Lin might lose his only title, to Xu Haohong, maybe. But he still technically holds one title in Taiwan. I believe this is Lai Junfu. We've seen him in the Globus Cup, at least. And I believe this player is also a very strong player. He might be Jia Jingting. Also a very strong player from Taiwan. Yeah. So and it feels like the Taiwanese team in the Bing League is actually stronger than the lineup in the Yi League. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it can't be much stronger. Of course, Zhu Haohong is actually playing in the Jia League.
Yeah. So
he can't play for a Taiwanese team.
No.
At the moment, but yeah. Wang Wanjun, Lin Junyan, and Lai Junfu are they're definitely three of like the top 8. They're definitely in the top 8 in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Incredible team. And perhaps it's not that much of a surprise that they finished first in the Bing League, but regardless, still a very impressive performance. And that means that Taiwan will have 2 teams in the Yi League
next year,
next season.
Yeah,
that's good. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now on the flip side, Team Japan.
Yeah.
In the Yi League.
Yeah.
Now the Yi League. So the way the Yi League works is that there are 4 players.
Yeah.
In a team, and so each match is a 4 versus 4.
Yeah.
And so the match you could if you win 3 or more, you win the match. Otherwise, if it's 2 apiece, it's a draw.
Right. Yeah.
Now, the Japanese team was, the team captain was Hirata Tomoya. Have I gotten that right?
Yeah, and you may remember him as the most recent winner of the Argon Kiriyama Cup.
Yes. So he currently holds the title. He beat Iyama Yuta.
Yep.
In that.
Yep.
We've got Numadat Sakia. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I apologize.
Yep.
But he's a 7 dan. He's appeared in the I believe he's appeared in a Tengen and a Gosei tournament.
Right. Yeah.
Not a title match, but a tournament.
Yeah. In tournament proper. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically made it past the prelim. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've got Sun Zi.
Yeah.
Who has been in. He's a former rookie king,
Right,
and he has participated in the Meijin League.
Yeah, Meijin League 2018.
In the past.
Yep.
So he's a 7-dan.
Yeah.
And then we've got Hirose Yuichi.
Yep.
Also a former rookie king.
Right. Yeah.
But he's never actually appeared in a major tournament proper.
No.
So you would almost consider him to be perhaps the weakest player. He's also the youngest, 21.
Right. Yeah.
Now in this league, Hirose Yuichi actually had quite a fantastic performance.
Yep.
All four of these players played in all 8 rounds, of course, and Hirose won 6 games.
Yeah, not bad.
Won 6 and lost 2.
Yep.
Proving that he can match it with the Yi League players, which is great for his confidence and great for the future of Japan, I think.
Yep.
Unfortunately, his teammates, none of them ended up winning a majority of their games. In fact, they all lost more than half their games.
Yeah.
I thought Hirata Tomoya, the captain, he won 3. Pardon?
He's got a four wins out of 8.
I thought he only won 3.
Okay. Maybe I just remember wrongly. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Wait, let me quickly check. It says in this article here that Hirata won 3 matches.
Right.
This is in the Nihon Kiin page. Wait. I'm just quickly gonna check.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hirata, I'm checking on Go ratings.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
On Go ratings, he won 4.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that he won 4.
Yeah.
So my bad. I don't know why it says in the Neon Keen page that he only won 3. Okay, yes. So he won. So he actually won 4. So he didn't lose a majority of his games, but he didn't win a majority either.
No. Yeah.
So he won 4. Sun Zi, he didn't do so well. I believe he only won 2 games.
Yeah. Not good.
But unfortunately, that wasn't the worst because Numidate Sakia, he ended up losing all of his games.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
very. I feel sorry for him. It's obviously not great. And I do remember I did look at his. I remember seeing his first game.
Yeah.
And he had some chances to win by like half a point, but played a bad Yosei move. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and
wow.
from then it obviously didn't get any better, and just it's not a good feeling. And unfortunately, Japan, so they won 2 matches, but they lost 5.
Yeah.
And they drew 1, and as a result, they finished 14th.
Yeah.
Out of 16.
Yeah.
And that means that they get relegated to the Bing League.
Oh wow.
So next season, the Japanese team will have to play in the Bing League.
Yeah.
No, and obviously, Hirata Tomoya, as the captain, they interviewed him afterwards, and obviously, he said as the captain he takes responsibility for the loss, which is a very Japanese thing to do. But it's just, I mean, he was having a good year as well with winning the Aegon Kiriyama Cup. It's feel sorry for him, to be honest.
Now apparently, to play in the Yi League, you have to come from the Japanese national team, and the Japanese national team is, obviously not every Japanese pro is part of that, and also the team Japan that was supposed to play in Yi League this year was, if I see if I can remember this, it's meant to be Yu Zhengqi. It's meant to be Seki Kotaro. It's meant to be Motoki Tatsuya. And there's another strong player that I couldn't remember the name of. I couldn't remember right now. But it was meant to be a much stronger lineup than these 4 players here. But it just so happens that because of COVID, the competition keep getting delayed, keep getting rescheduled. And what ended up happening was that, when they decided to hold a E-League, basically the Team Japan have to kind of scramble together a team. And these were the only players that were basically available at exactly that time. So that's how they ended up with this team, which unfortunately meant that they got demoted.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned they have to be national team players, because I just checked, and yet Numadate Sakuya, Sunzi, and Hirose Yuichi, they definitely all appear in the national team. From what I can see, Hirata Tomoya is not a national team player.
Right.
But he is sorry, my apologies. He's a coach.
Yeah.
He's actually there as a coach, but he's I didn't. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think he's actually listed as a player.
Yeah, no.
He's only listed as a
what
coach.
I heard was that he was he's a coach, and he basically have to basically, because there's not enough players, so he had to play. Oh yes, I just looked up the last player that was meant to be there in the E-League for Team Japan was Ida Atsushi, so a former title holder.
So what was the team meant to be?
Yu Zhengqi, Seki Kotaro, Ida Atsushi, and Motoki Tatsuya.
Damn, that would have been a better team, and they had to replace all of them.
Yeah, every single one. Yeah, so I mean, had Japan put out a stronger team, they probably could have survived. Now, also
they definitely would have survived with that team.
Yeah. Also keep in mind that Yamashita, Ichiriki, Ryo are both contracted to J League teams, so they're actually J League quality players. Shibano unfortunately didn't get a contract this year, but yeah, so the strongest possible team for Japan could have been something like Seki Kotaro, Shibano Toramaru, Yu Zhengqi, Ida Atsushi. So but
and you can't forget Su Shawan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Su Shawan could have had that kind of lineup. But
yeah,
it just didn't happen. So oh well, Bing League it is for Team Japan next year.
Yeah, hopefully they can win that and get back into the Yi League at the very least.
Yeah. So that's it for okay. So
so one final thing. Some Korean players also played in the Yi League. Unfortunately, I don't have the records. It was mainly the same Korean players that played in the 2021 Yi League.
Right.
I think there wasn't a specific Korean team. They were just contracted to Chinese teams, and I think they all did fairly well. But I didn't bother to look up their win-loss records.
Yeah, I don't remember the records, but I do remember something about Han Woo-jin only having 2 wins in the Yi League. So of course Han Woo-jin is expected to be one of the strongest young players coming out of Korea, but hasn't done that well in the Yi League either. So a bit of an unfortunate.
Well, it's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah. Oh, I do believe if I'm correct, Han Woo-jin only managed a 2-6 record in Yi League, so 2 wins, 6 losses.
Yeah, not great. Yeah, that's probably the most interesting one, because Han Woo-jin is the youngest Korean player.
Yeah.
In the Yi League. Is that Woo Yiming?
Yeah, that's Woo Yiming playing the Bing League. Lee He, another women player, also playing the Bing League, and Lee He actually beat Wang Yuanjun in the last round. So yeah,
nice.
There's some women player in the Bing League.
If we do get more results or more information about the Yi and the Bing League, we might talk about it in next week's podcast.
Yeah. Yep. But other than that, Gaza, perhaps it's time for the calendar.
Yes. So obviously the next 4 days
Yeah.
are going to be dominated by
The Nongshim Cup.
the Nongshim Cup.
Yay.
Yes,
Nongshim
obviously tomorrow is going to be Kang Dongyun versus Torjak.
Yep.
Whoever wins that will be playing almost certainly Yu Zhengqi on Sunday.
Yep.
And then we'll have 2 more games after that.
Yep.
Other than that, in Japan, the Hiroshima Aluminium Cup is happening over the weekend. Now, this is the tournament that Yuno Asami won that involved men, male and female players.
Yep.
And actually, Fujisawa Arena won it the year before Yuno Asami did.
Yep.
And both of them will be participating in this year's competition along with Nakamura Sumire.
Nice.
But there will be some strong male players as well.
Right.
But it's a very quick tournament. I think there are 16 participants and it's knockout and it's all going to be over in one weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll report on that when it happens.
Yeah.
There's the Tengen final, game 4.
Game 4, yep.
On Thursday.
Yep.
Now, Ida Atsushi is leading 2-1, and it's best of 5. So Ida Atsushi, if he wins this, he will be the new Tengen.
Yeah.
And other than that, we've got some women's Kisung quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Kim Yoon-ji is going to be playing.
Choi Jeong.
Not Choi Jeong's going to be playing in a different quarterfinal.
Yeah. All right.
Choi Jeong will actually be playing Kim Yoon-seon.
Yeah, right.
Not Kim Yoon-ji.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, obviously the biggest thing is going to be the Nongshim Cup. Very, very excited to see if Japan can get a win, if Kang Dongyun can get his 3rd win.
Yep.
And we won't be seeing Kerjay or Shinjin So in this section of the Nongshim Cup. They won't appear until the final section, which will be next year.
Yeah.
But
I guess never say never. Technically, they can just pop up.
Technically they can just decide to appear early, like a Yama did last year, Park Jun-wan did last year.
Right.
In fact, Park Jun-wan, you might see Park Jun-wan in this stage of the Nongshim Cup, which is always a treat. Park Jun-wan has always been one of the best in the world for the last 10 years now.
Okay, so about this Hiroshima Aluminium Cup, that's the carp competition, right? Carp as in the fish.
Yes.
Okay, so that's cool. I guess just as a side note, if I remember correctly, there was meant to be the Jar League happening right after the Nongshim Cup, but it's got postponed again, so we won't be seeing the Jar League. Possibly, maybe not in 2022. Maybe they will play the 2022 Jar League in 2023 again, but you'll never know. Unfortunately, the COVID situation still hasn't been that well. So that's okay. I guess that concludes our look ahead for the next week, and thanks Gaza again for another awesome episode and bringing us all this info. Actually, we do have a question from the audience. If you come top of the top league, does that qualify you for anything, domestic or internationally? I guess it's referring to the Jar League, I guess.
Yeah, you might be referring to the Jar League. If you win in the Jar League, they have playoffs.
Yep.
If you come in the top 8 or 6 or something, yes. If you come in the top 6 or 8, you make the playoffs, and they'll just have playoffs until there's a champion.
Yep.
And if your team is the champion, then you get lots of money. That's basically it. It doesn't qualify you for any other tournaments.
Yeah. I guess it's not like the European leagues where if you win the league, you kind of get a spot in the
Champions League. Yeah, it would be cool if there was some sort of Champions League between the top Jar League team and the top Korean Baduk League team. but there isn't at the moment.
Yeah, that would be a bit difficult because Shinjin So will be in both of them. So
Well, Shinjin So actually didn't win the Korean League.
I mean, it could happen. Could happen.
Yes, but no, the JA League is its own tournament. It doesn't feed into anything else. But it's very much a tournament where you play for a sponsor.
Yeah.
You play for a region and a region sponsor. And if your team wins, they're very happy, and you're probably very happy as well because you win a lot of money.
Yeah.
But other than that, it doesn't. I mean, it may get you a contract. Like if your contract runs out for that team, it may get you another contract if you perform really well individually. But other than that, it doesn't qualify for anything. JA League is basically sort of the pinnacle of Korean team Baduk. Yeah, I mean Chinese team Baduk.
Yeah, correct. It's the bread and butter. How most players earn a basic living. Anything on top is icing. All right, great. Okay, thanks, Gaza. And I think we've truly finished off this episode, even answering some audience questions. So thank you, Gaza, again.
Yes, and thanks again. Looking forward to the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah, we'll definitely cover the Nongshim Cup next week and possibly the Tengen. So we'll see you next week, Gaza.
Okay, goodbye.